Okay, welcome to Bitrix Live. I'm Damien Edwards, Commercial Manager of Bitrix24 Gold Partners Interface. With me, I've got our Sales Engineer, Sam.
Hi guys.
So we're based in the UK and we have offices in the US and the UAE, and we're able to provide a pre-sale support, so that's a demo of the product, and answer questions about different editions of Bitrix and the functionality of Bitrix. We provide we can provide licenses and a full implementation service, and we provide telephone support as well. So whether you're considering a cloud edition of Bitrix or self-hosted, we can support you on that, pre-sales through implementation and ongoing with an ongoing telephone support package. So we're going to be here for about an hour. If you want to post questions in the chat box, then we can answer those. We've got some questions that have come through already. You can either email your questions to sales at Interface, the questions here. In fact, if you email them to live at Interface, come straight through to us, or you can post them in the chat window, and we'll answer those questions as and when they come through. So I think we've had some questions in. Let me just check that our sound's working okay on this. Yeah, it looks like everything's working okay. So I think we've had a question in already, Sam,
so we've had
on email.
Yeah, so we've had one come in and say, is there a Gmail plugin for Bitrix?
So there is Gmail integration with Bitrix. It's not. We don't. Although there may be a partner may have developed a plugin for Bitrix, but Bitrix doesn't really require a plugin. There's a number of different ways. So it's for Gmail, isn't it? It's
Gmail.
I mean, there's ways to integrate with documents and things like that, Google Documents. But if it's specifically Gmail, then you can add your Gmail account. You can add any email account to Bitrix. If you click into Mail, and then we're connected up on this one already, but you'll get the option on this mail page to connect either a Gmail account or any other email provider. Just need to put your credentials in, username and password, and it will connect up your email. So what it's going to do, I don't know what the questioner wants it to do, but essentially, by default, it allows you to use Bitrix as an email client with an inbox, to be able to draft emails and send those. But in addition to that, it allows you to do some things like save to CRM, create task. These two features allow you to give you some integration with Bitrix. You can still carry on using Gmail as your provider. So if you don't want to send or receive emails from here, you can carry on using Gmail. And if we go into the CRM, have a look in the CRM, it shows you what it does. So the answer is that there isn't really a plugin that we know of, but you shouldn't need it. If it's a case of you just want to sync emails into Bitrix, then you shouldn't really need a plugin. So if we go into contact in here, you can see here outgoing email. So all emails that you send, continue to send from Gmail, will find the relevant contact. So we're looking for this email address. So if you send an email from Gmail to this email address, and that you've got in a contact stored in Bitrix in the CRM, it will copy that email into the relevant contact. So that's outgoing emails from Gmail. Anyone who sends you an email into Gmail, those emails come into Bitrix as well. They find the right contact and they store in here, so you can open up any of these emails and review that. I can reply then straight from Bitrix if you want to do that. We'll store it or continue to reply from Gmail. I think most people that we deal with, if they're using Gmail or Outlook or something, continue to use those. There isn't really any additional advantage to using the Bitrix client as such, but you should set your email up in Bitrix get those email syncs going on. You can send an email from here, choose a template, and you can post an email out. It will send the email from your correct email address that you're using currently in Gmail. So there's no plugin, but it will be, you can sync your emails. You can also use email as part of automation as well, so just sort of quickly look at that. So if I go into a deal, let's say, you can send emails as part of as an automatic action based on, in this case, based on the deal being at this stage. So when the deal progresses through this stage and reaches the in progress, we're going to send an email out. This is actually slightly different. It's not using your Gmail account. It's using an email service that you have that is connected to the hosting solution for your Bitrix. So if you're using a cloud edition, then this is all set up for you. If you're using a self-hosted, you need to create an email service. It's all set up with your hosting, and that's slightly different, really. It doesn't use Gmail, but there isn't a plugin, so it syncs. But it syncs it for you. It works very well with Gmail. Works well with other providers. There is has been an issue recently with Microsoft. Some Microsoft email accounts where Microsoft changed some settings on their side, which have to be fixed. But generally, it will find the right contact and sync it into there. So post your questions in this chat window, and we can answer those questions on any subject of Bitrix24, anything whatsoever, anything about how to customize the system. We just put our contact details up there again. These are our numbers if you want to get in touch with us afterwards. Email address is sales@intraface. And if you subscribe to Bitrix24 and Intraface on YouTube, then you get notifications about live sessions. I think we've got another question.
So
on email.
Question here: can the system give out alerts and notifications about changes that are made to specific fields in the CRM?
It's complicated, this one, to be honest. You can do it. So they want to send an alert if a field changes. It's quite a common request, I think. So one quite common request is to go into a company and open up this company record. So generally in a company record you have a responsible person. Let's move this up so we can see it. So in a company record you have a sales contact who's the account manager for that particular company. So this one is John Smith. One request we get is salespeople are changing this. So they go, well, I'm going to be that responsible person now. And they want to see if, a manager wants to see if someone's done that, if that's changed. Of course, you could, within permissions, you could restrict people from accessing records, but generally, especially in smaller teams, the whole sales team is able to see all companies, but you're responsible for certain ones. So if we use that example, then what you want to do is send an email or notification to a sales manager if somebody changes that. It can be done, but there isn't a standard way of doing it. So you need to create a business process, and I'll attempt to run through it. So if we go into settings, the first thing you need to do actually is create a couple of fields. So what we're going to do is create a field, one called ID1 and one called ID2. We'll just call them that for this purpose. See if we go to the company and look at fields. I don't think we've got these. Let's just create these fields quickly. So ID1. What we're probably going to do with this is just have it as a string field. So call this ID 1. You can call this anything you want really, but I'm just going to do that. Add field. ID 2. Oops, done that. What have I done there? I've done that wrong when I put ID 2. What have I done there? There's a sorting field at the top. I didn't realise that. That didn't used to be there, I don't think. So name of the field ID 2 is it's a string. Let me check I did the other one correctly. ID 1 string, yeah, okay. So you don't need to show these fields in anywhere. They're just going to be fields that will populate as part of this business process. So if we go into settings and automation and to business processes and see if we've got this set up now. Add a template. So essentially what we want to do on this is when added or when changed. In fact, in theory you don't need when added because you don't need when added, so it's just when changed. So what we're going to do is this process to run every time the records change. So when anyone changes any field within the record, this will run. What we're looking at is if the responsible person field's changed though. So what we want to do firstly is I probably won't fill all these out, but I'll just put the descriptions in. ID 1 equals responsible person. So what we actually, I'll fill this one out. Responsible person equals responsible person equals, oh, can we not change that? Responsible person equals responsible ID. Bear with me a second. What to do on there? Bear with me a second. So actually what we're going to do is ID 1 equals responsible person, like that. So what we're doing is changing that ID field, the original ID, the ID field to match what the responsible person is, and then we bring in a condition. I don't want to go into this in a lot of detail because but we bring in a condition and we're going to look at whether the ID does not equal the ID 1 field does not equal ID 2 field. ID 1 not equal ID 2. I won't put the condition in, but essentially if ID 1 does not equal ID 2, this one's going to be ID 1 equals ID 2, and then you can put your condition, your values in here to check whether ID 1 does indeed equal ID 2. I won't do that right now. And then based on whether the ID 1 and ID 2 match or don't match, you can send out an email. So I'll sort of try and explain it after I've added this in. What we do at the end is just modify this element here to make ID 2 equal responsible. I'll just save that for now. Oh, let's put something in here. Put something in there so I can save it. So essentially what we're doing is changing this custom field we made to match who the responsible person is, and then we're going to look at whether the ID 1 field is the same as the ID 2 field, because if someone's changed that responsible person field from who it originally was to themselves, those two ID fields are not going to change at this stage. At the end we change the ID 2 field to equal ID 1 field, so those two fields then match up, so if the process runs again we don't get another notification. And also if it then changes again, the responsible person changes again for a second time, the process will, the condition will be met here, and the email will be sent out to the person, the supervisor, to notify it. So in the email, obviously, you can put a link into the company record. You can have the link directly to the company record and say, oh, the responsible person for this company has changed, and with a link so they can click in it. So it's a bit of a long way around it, but that would be the way. That would be the way we would do it, I think. So if you've got any questions, post. Have we got some questions? Yeah. How to create segments depending on type of client. Segments.
Go through pipelines or?
Do it in pipelines. Yeah. If we have multiple types of clients, so you can do it a different way. I mean, you can do, depends, doesn't it? I mean, he's putting in how to create segments. I mean, deals are opportunities, and deals have pipelines, and so you can segment your opportunities. So you could have a client A, and they could have different opportunities that you put in different pipelines because they're either different parts of the country or segments for email segments for email campaigns.
So segmenting a CRM.
So we're going to email marketing, email campaigns, create our campaign. So you go to create your campaign. It's add segment. So you can add a segment you've already created, or you can create one here. Let's see if we've got some here, but this is how you do it: create segment, and I think once you've created it, it saves it. So if we click into this here, so clients, leads. So you can create a segment from clients or leads, or you can import a list. So I'm guessing we can import from a CSV. So you'll be able to copy and paste into that. So you can import by copying and pasting it. But if we're looking at clients, you create your segmented list of clients. We've got some filters already saved here, like Christmas sale and things like that. But essentially, you can access any of the fields that are associated with a client record. So a responsible person field would be a typical one for this, I guess. So you might go, well, I want to create a segmented list. We're logged in here as John Smith. So you create a segmented list for, all the clients that I'm responsible for, and we save that. So that's it. So but you might use a custom field based on sort of types of products they buy. You might use, I think in the company record you have that client type, and it can be like a partner or a reseller, or all different types of clients. When you put your criteria in, you can have multiple fields in here. So you could add stage. Stage. We have this. Let's click a few stages there. When you add your criteria in, you can have multiple fields to create your filtered list. It tells you here how many email and phones numbers you've got and how many total contacts you've got. So we have a total of 1 in there. If we click on view there, it's going to give us probably a list of all those people. Yeah. So that's it. I think when you save that, it adds it in. It's called it segmented. I think it's probably, we didn't give it our own name. I think you're probably supposed to give it a name. No, it automatically names it, and that will probably be available. And then you've got your email template. You can do that. So you can go into previously created segments. My segment, popular, previously created, or you can create a new one there and then send it out. How to apply discount on products in store automatically. I'm not sure how you do that, to be fair. So a quick look, see whether it's see where it is. Don't think we've got it on that. Let's have a look at a different site. So we've got a self-hosted and a I'm not going to be able to log into that. So no, I can't access that unfortunately at the moment. So, but discount
Give
on
manual
products.
dis-
Yeah, I think you can create. I'm pretty sure you can create discount vouchers that you can give out. Products in store. I mean, you could when you put a product on, you can discount that product. So you can have different versions of the product with different prices on them. Do you want to do a discount based on a particular customer? So when they log in, they get a discount, or do you want to just have a voucher or something like that you give out? So there are some things you can do in the store, I think, around that, but it is in beta. So I think there's some, potentially some updates to come to add to improve that functionality. So let's put our contact details up there, and you need to post questions in if you've got any questions. If we run out of questions, we'll have to go off.
We've had one or two others come through previously, so asking if we can do a webinar using Bitrix.
Oh, right. So let's just bear with me a second. Can we do a webinar? You can't really, can you?
Video calling, but
yeah. So you can't. I suppose the key features of a webinar are that obviously a large number of people can access a video link like this. In Bitrix, you can have a video call with up to 10 people. The difference is that you can't really create. You don't have all those tools for allowing people to register and then sending them out sort of links and reminders and things like that. You don't have those tools that allow people to interact like we have here, where they can post questions and you can create polls and things like that to get feedback and interact with people. So it's not really a good webinar, wouldn't really be a good webinar tool at all. So just a quick look. I mean, I'll just show you what you can do. You can invite these people in, and then we can have a video call with them like that. So you can do that, but it's not a really good webinar tool. That said, I think we just did a project, or we're in the middle of a project where we're integrating with Twilio, and we're doing something with them which has additional functionality, which is a bit more like a webinar. So we've developed, but I mean, we wouldn't recommend if you're looking for a webinar tool, we certainly wouldn't recommend Bitrix as a webinar tool if that's all you're looking at. If you're looking for other areas of Bitrix and you just need webinar adding on, then you can change this picture. Then Bitrix might be a good solution. No, I can't. Okay, so no, we would probably just recommend that it's not the right solution for a webinar.
I want to be able to automate discounts on campaigns for all clients.
I want to automate discounts on campaigns for all clients. Automate discounts on campaigns. All right. Okay. Yeah, I don't know if you can do that. So a quick email campaign. Yeah, I mean, apart from creating a product which has a discount on it and a landing page here with links to that product, you want to do a sort of understand a 10% off for this period of time. To be honest, we can't access the e-store at the moment on this site. It doesn't seem to be installed for some reason, so I'm not too sure if that features there. I don't think I remember seeing it, so
no.
It's probably not, unfortunately, probably not something that you can do. So, do you have any more on?
Question previously: is there a maximum file size when we're uploading to the Bitrix drive?
So, no, I don't think not as I know of. There's a maximum file size. I don't think so. I mean, you've got limitations on the space in total. Don't think there's any I don't think on the cloud, the standard, there's any way you can restrict sort of maximum individual files. But if you try and upload more than space you've got. On the self-hosted, you have certain, so look, see if we can find it in here. You have certain sort of restrictions that you can do on, so look, allow public links.
Yeah.
Oh, here we go. Sorry, don't index documents with a size over 124 megabytes. So, to be honest, if that's the case on the self-hosted, then it might be that that's a default size. So that's gigabytes, isn't it? I think so. That might be a restriction then on that size. If you're on the self-hosted, if you've got a problem with that and you're finding there's a restriction, then on the self-hosted you can change that number. It's your system. We'll host it for you. If you buy a self-hosted instance, we can host it in our data center. We can install it on your web server or on a server you have in physically in your office. But you have full control over it. About this dashboard at the back end that allows you to do things like this, which you can't do on the cloud. But you still access it as a cloud product. You still access it through a browser over the internet. You can access it on the mobile app. It's exactly the same as the cloud, standard Bitrix cloud in terms of from the user's point of view. But you've got all these different settings that you can do. I was pretty sure that there was something in here. I mean, things like allow public links, you can disable that, and that we get people who are on the cloud and say, I want to be able to do this, and we tell them that that's not a setting that's available in the cloud, and they'll upgrade to the self-hosted just for something like this, public links. It might be that they don't want public links because they're using this part of the system heavily, and just being able to sort of deselect those settings, and you can see here just how many different settings, different elements there are, modules there are that you can access within the system. So just click on there. I think you can also, it's not allowed to do that. I think you can also access document file types, so restrictions, so you can say, you can open these types of files, but you can't open these types of files. You can change the default what they can view documents with. So all sorts of settings you can do in there. How can we integrate all forms on my extranet website with Bitrix? So if you want to integrate all forms that you already have on your extranet website. So let's assume your extranet website is not a Bitrix extranet website, and you've got some forms that you've built in there. If you wanted to integrate those, then you would need, a self-hosted edition, depending on what the forms are built in, really. If they're built in something that you could use a webhook on, then you might be able to do it on the cloud. Otherwise, you need self-hosted. The best solution is to rebuild those forms using the Bitrix form builder. It'll create the code for you, and then you can put that code on your website, and then that will generate. Do you want to run through creating forms?
Sure.
So you can create forms in the CRM and it generates the code for you.
So we can go into the CRM, then we can go into the form builder here. So what we can do is add in a new form. So this is a template here, and then we can bring through any fields here. So we might want to bring through a lead name and the company name, for example. So you can bring through as many fields as you require. You can then, if you wanted to, you could customize this. Might want to change the name, and then we can decide when that form is then submitted by, say, the lead in the website. We can then choose where in the CRM that gets placed. So we might want to send it straight into as a new lead in the system. So we can do that. And then we can also change the style if we want to of the actual form. So change the layout, like feedback, so you can also set that. So if you just, when you're happy with your form, you can save that. Let's give it a name. Once you've saved them, you can then generate the code. So if once we've enabled that, can then embed that code onto your page, and then they can add their information and then submit, and then that will feed back through into the CRM as a new lead for you.
So you can get the code, can't you? If you click into it, embed code.
Yeah, so you can change.
And you've got different options.
Yeah, so you can choose a button, a link, even a time delay.
Slightly different code.
Yeah.
Put that on it. So you're saying on the question is saying webhooks, saying well webhooks or my application, which is the best option. Well, we're saying that don't use webhooks or try and build any integration. Just rebuild the forms using the form builder in Bitrix, and that's it. As Sam showed you, it will generate a lead in the system. Once you've generated a lead, which you generate a lead with a form, you can do anything with that information then, because if we go into a lead, I think that's the one he's just completed, so that's created this new lead. You can use automation then to, in this case, if I just go off that, in this case you can see that it's already sent an email and scheduled a call and sent a notification out, all these different things. But what you could do is just use this, let's take those out for now, just use this lead as the kind of first stage, and you could, saying you can, I don't know, you could create something else then from that. So you could create a list item. So we do this quite a bit. So if somebody wants a form that adds it to a list item, they don't want to generate a lead, if you want to create a list item, you generate the lead, and then you create your list item, your list, select your entity, and then you can map these fields across. So it creates it copies the information that is populated into the lead into a list, and then are these all kind of going to be mandatory fields or something? Can't save that. Kind of name is required. And just populate these just to show you, I guess. It doesn't let you do it, does it? It doesn't let you actually. I don't know whether it'll let you do it or not, but whether it'll let you pull that information and post it into a list. I'm not sure that action block lets you do that. But essentially, you can create a list, or you could create some other item, or post that information into an if you just want to send it as an email, you could then copy the information into an email using that sort of email action block here. And then what you want to do is just oops, that's gone a bit funny. Just cancel that. So you've added your create list, and then all you want to do is, I'm hoping there is a delete lead. Pretty sure there is. Delete. Oh no.
Delete CRM right now.
I thought there was a delete lead. Let's just check.
There's an edit element, but.
Okay, well all you could do is just update the stage, change the stage then. So change it from new lead to kind of lost lead or something like that, and that's it. Change the status. So as soon as it will populate the list item, and then it will change the status to closed, and it will close the lead off. So the client enters details on my website. Forms want to import that data and update data and export to my web database. Oh well, it would depend on what platform you're using for your website, things like that. So that's my website forms. Yeah, well, I'm saying your website forms are they built by Bitrix, or are they built by something else? If they're built by something other than Bitrix, then you're going to have to rebuild them using the Bitrix tool. That would be the best way of doing it. We can integrate with an existing form, but you'd need a self-hosted tool, and you'd need to spend some money with us to get it to do that work for you, so it wouldn't be straightforward. So just rebuild the forms as Sam showed you using that tool, then use the code on your website, and that'll be it. Create a So you want to import the data. We can import the data as a lead, and then from a lead you can generate it into, copy it into something else inside Bitrix, and export to my web database. Yeah, so it would depend on what your web database is. So whether it has like an API or whether you could do that with a webhook on there. So, I mean, yeah, I mean. If you've got the self-hosted, there's lots of ways of doing it. If you've got the cloud, limited ways of doing it. But if you want to send over details of what your systems are that you're using, then we can look at it for you and quote you to do that kind of work for you. But it would all be possible. It's just trying to think of the best way, kind of simplest way of doing it, so it doesn't involves the least amount of work, but also it's going to be the most stable for you. Simplest and stable way of doing it. Can I record my video calls within Bitrix24? So I don't think you can. We don't record these video calls in here. We just mentioned that we're doing something with Twilio, and for that particular project we're recording video calls. What we're doing is recording the video calls, we're recording the audio separately, and we're using a Google plugin that transcribes the audio into text so that they can then search through that audio as well. So
there's a message up here. Can we send an email to a work group? So if you're in a work group, you can kind of use the activity stream really to send your messages. So if you were in a work group, for example, you could just use the activity stream here to then send your message to specific people, so you could just send that across to everybody in the project. Or what you can do is you could send that to specific users, so you can target to the whole group or to individual users within that project, and that will then send onto the activity stream and they'll receive that in their activity stream.
Okay. So following on from the web forms, which is the best way, API webhooks. So depends which system you've got. Again, depends on your other systems, what they have. Do they have an API? If you're using Bitrix Cloud, it doesn't have an API, a full API available, so you won't be able to do it probably. It has some limited APIs you can use actually with forms and leads, but it is limited. So if you've got a cloud version of Bitrix, then you're going to have to use webhooks. We did covered webhooks. I think we're going to do a webinar or a video on webhooks soon. But there's a fair amount. If you search Bitrix24 webhooks, there's documentation on how that works. So it'll be the simplest way, I guess, to do it. So put all the contact details up there if you want to get in touch with us for a demo at all, or with any other questions afterwards, then we can provide a one-to-one demo. We will ask you what areas of the system you're interested in seeing, whether you've got anything special you want to see on that. If you've got a very particular requirement, then we can show you that on a demo. Get in touch with us. So we don't have any other questions. Don't think we have any questions. No. If you want to post questions, give it a couple of minutes, and if there's any other questions, then we can answer those today. But if you want to also register for webinars, we do a webinar on a specific subject every week. If you go to intraface.com/webinars, you can register there. If you go to bitrix24.com as well, scroll down to the bottom of the page, then you can register for webinars there. Let's have a look at that. So if we go right down, right down to the bottom or somewhere towards the bottom of the page. I've gone past it. Okay, so next free webinar, Better Business Processes. So this is one of the webinars that we run. I can click on there and you can register for that webinar. So we also do self-hosted advantages, project management and HR tools. You can register any of those webinars. There's some recorded ones there as well. So yeah, but also subscribe on YouTube and you'll receive notifications about this. But I don't think we have any more questions. So we will finish for today, and hopefully if you want to subscribe, get notification next time we're live. If you've got some questions ready, you can answer your questions next time. But thanks for your time.
Thanks, guys.